What's up, everybody? Today we're doing the oil change on my car here, but before we get to that, I don't think I'm in the right outfit for that. So let's actually get changed real quick. Ooh, there we go. All right, this is a little bit more comfortable. So, but before we get started, I want everyone to make sure that when you're doing an oil change, you gotta let the engine cool down. If you just drove this car from somewhere or brought it back, you gotta let it cool down, or else when you're doing that oil change, if it touches you, say bye-bye to your hand. Obviously not that extreme, but it will hurt a lot. So make sure, let your engine cool down. Like, let it cool down a little bit before you start getting to work. That's honestly what we're doing here. But that's not why you're here. Let's get to the important stuff. All right, now that we've let our engine cool down, here's what you're gonna need for the oil change. You're gonna need a bin and a funnel, and you're also gonna need one of these handy dandy oil filter wrenches. Obviously your filter for yourself, and then the oil that you're gonna need for your car. As well, you're gonna need yourself your tools, of course, because how else are you supposed to, take everything off? Some gloves and a water, because it's gonna be hot under there. You're definitely gonna need to stay hydrated. But that's everything you're gonna need for an oil change. Let's get right to it. Before every oil change, I like to make sure to take the cap off, just so it can flow down and drain easier. I just leave that like that, and so that no dust or debris falls in there, and just make sure to put something on top to cover it. All right, but other than that, let's get under the car. Okay, now once you're down here, you're gonna wanna try to locate your oil filter and your oil drain plug, which is gonna be right here. But let me show you closer up so you know what you're looking for. Okay, so we have our oil filter right here, and right over here is gonna be my drain plug. Okay, so I went ahead and put my gloves on, but once you've located the right socket that you need to undo your drain plug, you're gonna just go ahead, put it on your ratchet, and then make sure to slide your tray right under where it's gonna, where everything's gonna drain out. Simple as it is. Make sure your ratchet's turned to take something off. What I like to do, because I know when I first undo the plug, it's gonna shoot out, I make sure to put the pan where I'm gonna drain everything a little, so something like that. The plug is right here, but it's gonna shoot out. But before you do anything, I like to grab an old rag and simply place it under the plug, so that way in the case that you're taking off too slowly, it doesn't drip on your actual concrete. So let's take this off. And as it slowly starts to drain, just move the bucket a little farther back so that way it doesn't start dripping everywhere. And now it's a simple waiting game. And what I like to do in the meantime is I just like to clean all this off. Okay, once it starts dripping really, really slowly, something like this, you're just gonna wanna put your oil drain back on it, slowly and slowly with your hand. And then you're gonna hand tighten it, and then with your old rag, just clean all around it. Once you've done that, we're gonna make sure we tighten it with the wrench in a little bit, but first we wanna move our bin so that way we can untighten the oil filter. So let's go ahead and do that. So mine's on a little tight, so I'm gonna make sure to use the oil filter wrench. Once you crack it, just make sure to untighten it the rest of the way by hand. Now, just like that, you've taken out the oil that was already in there and the oil filter. Now, when taking off the oil filter, a lot of it is gonna get on your hands. So that's why I advise you let your engine cool down, so that way it's not pouring hot on top of you. Okay, now we're gonna make sure to grab our new oil filter right here. Take off all this sealant that comes on top of it, just this paper plastic that came with this. Now, what I advise you to do before anything, before you go ahead and put this in here, put a little bit of oil inside here. Make sure to catch any of that excess. You're gonna wanna make sure to dip your finger, like your pinky in there, and then rub the oil on the O-ring outside right here. And then any old parts you could just put in the box with the new one. Now, when you're gonna put your oil filter back up, you wanna make sure that you're holding it upwards because you're gonna screw it on and it's filled with oil, so you don't want it to spill everywhere. Now, you wanna make sure you tighten it as firmly as you possibly can with your hand. Now, if you consider yourself a little bit weak, I would recommend that you use your oil filter wrench to tighten it up as well. But if you have some good hand grip, tightening with your hand is all that's needed. Now, before we go back up, we gotta make sure we tighten that oil plug from before with our wrench so that way it doesn't go anywhere when we're driving. All right, now we're done with everything down here. Let's go back up. Alrighty, now once you've got everything taken out from underneath and you're ready to put all the oil back in, just gonna come over here, take off this right here, and then you're definitely gonna go on and grab your funnel so that way you don't have anything spilling out. Now let's grab our oil. Now that you have your oil, you're gonna wanna know exactly how many liters this car is gonna take. Now for me, this engine's gonna take about 3.4 quarts. Now on every can of oil, you're gonna be able to see quarts and liters and a bar right here. So because I'm a little above the 4 and I want 3.4, I wanna first go down to halfway over the 1 quart mark. Okay, what I just realized is that my phone overheated. Now, the only thing I did was finish filling up the oil, and what I did say is that I recommend that you go a little bit over full, so that way when you start your engine and all the oil runs through, it gets to the equal level it's supposed to be after finishing running. But let's go ahead and start up the car. Okay, so now I'm in my 2005 Hyundai Accent. Everything is finished, everything's done, so let's turn them on. Now that screeching sound is your engine bell. We'll get to fixing that later. Once you finish changing your oil, you're gonna wanna rev it up to 4,000 RPM. Then rev it to 3,000. Then to 2. And then just idle it. Let it relax, let all the engine roll in, get into the engine block. But without further ado, that's how you change your oil on your car. And if you did learn anything, make sure to like the video and comment down below what you want to see next. I did start a series over on Instagram about getting this car looking better than ever and upgrading, tuning, anything that is said in the comment section. So make sure to stay tuned for any other things like this. And if you have any questions on anything about a car that you don't know yet and you want to learn, comment down below or shoot me a DM and maybe I'll make a video over it. But other than that, hope everyone has a beautiful Sunday and catch y'all later.